he'll wander in while we're in the business aspects of things. If not, we can certainly take a break and wait for him. But in any event, I think everybody's here except Alex. Okay. We'll call to order the March 14, 2016 regular meeting of the Bristol Downtown Development Corporation. And if everybody would please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First business item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the December 17, 2015 regular meeting.
Motion to.
Second.
A motion to approve in a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Minutes are passed. Item number 3, written communications received by board members.
Nothing.
Anything? Okay. Item number 4, opening of the meeting to members of the public who wish to be heard on any subject within the jurisdiction of the Bristol Downtown Development Corporation. Sign up to speak. Wow, we're breezing right through here. Item number 5, new business. First, treasurer's report and action on pending invoices.
I have one invoice dated December 8th for Hinckley, Allen and Snyder for $525.
Motion to approve.
Is there any discussion, comments, questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, do we know what the balance of our budget is?
We do not.
Okay.
There is obviously substantial funding
Well,
in there
right.
that my understanding will be turned back over to the general fund or wherever they decide to allocate it as we dissolve. But I guess one question that I have that we can discuss when Dave gets here is obviously there's going to be one more invoice to come in after this, as Dave winds us up. 2 more. You're right, yours and Dave. So we'll address that with him when he gets here. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, hi. Sorry to interrupt.
That's quite okay.
I got to get back to budget hearing, but I wanted to take a few minutes to thank everyone for all the time you put in on the board. I know you countless hours. Jen and Jen, I think you were the only 2 original members left. And I just want to thank everyone for all their hard work and the time you put into this board.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
In regard to the invoices,
Yes.
do you think we could do something so that once this is disbanded, some other official could review them and approve them?
Yeah, I know that we have authority to approve invoices that are below a certain amount. If they come in below that, I believe the treasurer can approve them without even our vote. So she could just sign them off to pay them. If not, I think we can probably delegate to the comptroller's office to assure that they get paid. So we'll iron that out when Dave gets here, but I'm sure that there's a way for us to do that. I do want to make sure that everybody's invoices get settled out before the money gets transferred back. So we'll hold sort of that little final piece of that pending Dave's arrival. And then, of course, the last item on the agenda is the discussion of the City Council's vote to disband the corporation and to take any necessary action. And, of course, as you are all aware, the City is pursuing development of the parcel across the street with Bristol Hospital. And there were a number of complications associated with involving this board in that process. Complications such as our requirement that we have to follow city procurement policies, which would have included competitive procurement for anything done on that property. Of course, if the city goes through the Bristol Development Authority, they're not bound by those competitive bidding requirements, and they can pursue the project on their own. So the City Council did make a determination that that is what they wanted to do. So in order to do that, they needed to sort of revoke our charter and disband us, because as it stood, we had the authority to develop that parcel. And they're going to take it back and put it under the BDA so that they can pursue the development with Bristol Hospital without having to go through a formal RFP process. So that vote was taken, that action was done. However, we do exist as a separately standing and separately incorporated corporation. Of course, we have no authority now because the City Council's revoked our authority, but we do need to take the formal step of voting to dissolve ourselves. And then there are a number of corporate wind-up procedures that need to be taken. Articles of dissolution have to be filed with the Connecticut Secretary of State. Obviously, we have to wind up our finances, return that money over to the city, and those types of formalities. So item 5B on the agenda is really for the purpose of taking that vote to authorize our dissolution and then instructing our council to file the necessary papers, wind up our affairs, and assist City Corporation and Council's office to excuse me, assure that the money is appropriately transferred over. And it is anticipated, obviously, that tonight will be our last official action and our last official meeting. So all of that being said, and I'm glad that the mayor stopped in. I asked him to stop in and thank you all. But I personally want to thank each and every one of you for the time and effort that you have put in, to trying to do the right thing across the street and develop that property into something usable and useful for the residents of the city of Bristol. This has not always been an easy board to sit on. Obviously, there were a lot of strong feelings from a lot of people within the city as to what should happen with that property. I think this board has been very thoughtful, very deliberate, very willing to listen to any and all viewpoints, and really strive to keep politics out of this and do what was best for the city and what was best for the parcel, and that's very important. I am honored to have served with all of you, and hope that you will all remain active in the city. There are numerous other boards that could use your talents and your input, and one of the things that makes the city great is always obviously participation, and participation by more than just sort of the few. Every town has their sort of political gadflies that want to be on every board, and it's always nice to get fresh faces and fresh voices, and I think that this board very ably accomplished that. So I thank each and every one of you for the time you put in. I also obviously want to thank Noelle for sitting here doing a fantastic job on the minutes time and time again, and especially some very complicated and lengthy meetings and public participation, and she always ensured that the minutes got out on time, and I mean almost no corrections. You did a great job, and we really appreciate you. And now that Mr. DeBasio has arrived, I want to personally thank him for sort of being the rudder that steered this ship and always gave us very good, very objective and sound legal guidance in making sure that we did the right thing. I'm very proud that this board paid very careful heed to the contract that was executed and never did anything we weren't supposed to do, even though the temptation was always there. So I want to thank you for your guidance.
It was my pleasure.
We have worked through the agenda. We'll step back for a minute to item 5A. And the question we had is, we've just approved your invoice, and we understand that there'll be 2 more invoices to come in after we conclude tonight. One will be from Noelle, and then one will be from you for actually winding up the affairs and filing the articles of dissolution. How do we go about, can we make a motion now to assure that those get paid if they're less than a certain amount? How do we make sure you get paid, Dave?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, you can absolutely do that, because that's typically what you do in light of what the City Council's action would be. You'd vote to dissolve the corporation pursuant to the bylaws and the City Council's actions. I have the certificate of dissolution here, and part of the winding up is you vote to authorize the approval of invoices and payments of the corporation so that there are no outstanding debts.
In which case, that brings us to item 5B. The mayor did just step in a moment ago and thanked everyone for their service. I was just sort of extending my thank yous, and now that you've arrived and everybody understands the reasons why we are sort of winding up here, the chair will entertain a motion to dissolve the corporation.
Before we do that, Madam Chairman, also I'd like to say thank you to everyone that served on this. I think we were all looking for a different outcome, but unfortunately things happened as they did. But on all the boards I've ever served on, this is probably one of the most open-minded group of folks that I've ever had the privilege to sit with. No one was afraid to express their feelings, what was on their mind, and what they thought was the right direction of going. And I thank you all for that. And Dave, thank you for keeping us out of trouble. Jen said I mentioned it much nicer. I'm going to say it direct.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for keeping us out of trouble.
It wasn't hard. It was a pleasure to work with all of you.
And explaining it in normal terms.
So you understand, right?
So with that, I guess the motion we would be looking for would be a motion to dissolve, including the authorization of council to take any and all necessary action to file the necessary paperwork and to ensure all of the just and last debts of the corporation are paid.
And with that being said, I make a motion to approve.
Second. Any further discussion? Comments, questions, any of the above? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This corporation shall be dissolved. That, any further business to come before us? I suppose not. If
I don't
not,
think so.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Any comments, questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourned. Barbara, before you run away...
Never went off the record. I apologize.